Hey Rich, how's it going, man? It's Yoni here. I'm leaving video feedback for people this week just because I've been really, mucked up and basically having to basically catch up with leaving comments for people for a while. So I'm just kind of like doing it in video form because I can talk faster than I can type. And that's pretty much roughly the plan for what this is. Seen your work last week. It's really nice to see it all smoothed out. And also, that it's so crazy as well, with all the little kind of like tentacles coming out of the earth. And yeah, just looking through it now a couple of times, it's not really much that I can tell you, because it's actually quite, nice and solid. Just maybe a bit of, you know, overlap and follow through things as well, especially on the hands when they basically swing, and having them almost like have the motion of the hand just be a bit more swaying to an extent because they are kind of like a bit rigid to an extent between kind of like the forearm and the hand itself, so the area of the wrist, that could be a little bit more exaggerated. Also, when the he kneels down, and he goes into the ground, around frame 90. It's one of those things that he might. It's a bit more realistic sometimes if you actually anticipate one side of the actual body a little bit more, so it's not so twinned as it is in frame 90, and it also basically anticipates so that one hand basically touches the floor first, normally the one that's opposing, so he can place down the right hand just a little sooner, because when he goes down, he literally does, put his left hand down at the same time. Actually, no, sorry, I'm mistaken there. It's his right knee and his left hand go down, but it's kind of like everything kind of like reaches at the same time, so you'd almost want to offset one, so he kneels down and then the other hand comes in. So at frame 95, you've already separated those two motions instead of having them at the same time. It's not that the entire body falls at the same time, but it's one, two, and that way, the motion's just a little bit smoother as he comes down. So I think that that's something that you can break up, have kind of like one hand and one knee come down, and then the other one, so you adjust the position just a little bit more. Really nice work on, making the hole in the ground pretty nice. The only thing I can say there is, especially looking at the fingers, maybe a little bit more detail there. Not much. And also just adjusting the weight a little bit more when he puts his leg down in frame 109. It's a good moment for the hips to actually just push back a little bit further than they are. So let him actually rest, because now basically the weight, as it's distributed on the bottom of the feet, it's better if the hips just come down just a little bit. Also try and do that camera wise, like that. So he's there, you've got all of this base on the ground, so that when the legs finally are stretched out, he can rest back just a little bit like that. And there he just pushes everything aside. Yeah, and that reaction there when everything comes out. Really cool. Yeah. Yeah, almost like you might want to just have one or two more frames around frame 181 when the foot actually hits the ground, it's on the ground for like one, two, three, 4 frames like that. And I think it could be on there just for one or two more. And also when the foot goes back, it's a good idea, I think, in this case, because the motion's so fast, to actually have the foot in frame 186 to actually slide back. So basically he plonks the foot on the ground, it slides back and then it goes up, so it basically flows upwards like that, and that way it looks like he's more trying to get away faster and faster and faster, because currently, the foot basically it is pretty much like at this angle over here, and it goes forward like that. You'd want it to, it's really difficult to do in this, you'd want it to basically rotate backwards like that and basically flow out. So that's kind of like on 186, have the foot basically fly towards the left of screen and have it slide, so it goes that way, and that will probably make it look a little bit better. And then on your reference, great amount of personality there. Looks really, really, really funny, him coming back in with the shovel. And yeah, the things that I wish the little tentacle things that come out the ground were just a little bit bigger, because it just lets you play around with it a bit more. And also, when he starts hitting it with a shovel, you can have this very nice kind of like animation of the tentacles basically splitting and bracing, to the actual hits themselves. And then you just kind of like work it through that way. I mean, you've got very nice kind of like arcs over there. Definitely split up the motion, basically, of when he basically gives the first thing. So it would be really nice to see him basically run in, the feet lock, the body then starts coming, and he does one huge swing at the beginning. That's probably going to be the most kind of like strongest one of the lot. So that's going to have the broadest motion. And then the other one's slightly smaller, and then the third one just comes in like that. And I think that that kind of like some nice kind of like build up over there. Also the exhaustion there as well. And Jay's comment kind of like about picking up the carrot at the end of the shot, I think that's a nice little touch as well. So I'd definitely go for that. Well, cool, man. Nice looking at that. Hopefully we'll meet up this weekend. And I think it's Cars 2 we're going to see, so I need to have a look at the Facebook page. And yeah, man, really looking forward to see how everything turns out next week. But go for it, man. You've got a pretty good, solid plan there. Take care, alright? See ya. Bye.